boy has it been a long time. And 3 of those weeks I had a good excuse. And for the rest of it, I don't see the blind guy anymore with his relation. I only see them from far away, and they're both bald and black, which don't crack, so it's hard to tell what it is. I'm going to assume father and son. But I haven't been seeing them. I don't know if our schedules no longer align or they got hit by a garbage truck or something. Kind of miss them. There's something that probably should have been in episode 14, I think. So I guess this is a callback. Time moves faster at the edges of your vision. And metaphorically, of course, just like in that episode, if you're not paying attention, time's going to move faster for things that you're not looking at, people you're not paying attention to. But I mean it literally too. I've noticed it with my phone because I keep it forever on silent, so the only indication that anything's happened on it is the little flashing light it does. And sometimes I'll think I saw it flash in the corner of my eye, and then I'll look at it, and I'll look at it for what feels like a very long time, and it doesn't flash, so I think, whatever, I guess it was just reflection. And then I look away, and it flashes again very quickly. After this happened a few times, I actually tested it out by deliberately causing notification and then looking at it and not looking at it and actually paying attention to it. And time really does move differently depending on whether you're looking at it, whether your attention is on it. And obviously I mean your perception of it, but it's not the only thing in physics that changes depending on whether you're looking at it. I say with zero understanding of this particle wave bullshit. Anyway, this is still a D&D episode because I can shit this out quickly and I'm already like 2 months behind. And also the campaign's long and it's not done, so what did you expect? Just a quick reminder of the cast because it's been 9 months and this baby is ready to go. We got Olivier the Frog, me, Chuck the Medic, who's a big fighter, Anila the Warlock, who's got some kind of void demon in her brain, Raslas the Canon Sexual, B3 the Robot, and Jamanthema the Guitarist. And Wiggy, who's an NPC, but he's the main character, so you gotta remember him. So last time on Dragon Balls, we fought some crabs, we got fucked up by some meteors, we really needed to repair a ship, so we land on this water planet that we found, and we get down there, the ship's doing just okay enough that we can hover above the water, but that's about all we can do, and there are people doing repairs. Naturally, Olivier, my frog chef character, is in the kitchen doing whatever because he's not helping with the repairs. He's busy. And he's got Caden there with him. And as we're doing repairs, we start seeing sexy mermaid bitches showing up and trying to seduce us. And Raslas actually fell for it. He failed to save, so he just hugged one of them and got pulled down into the water. And the rest of us resisted, or eventually resisted, and then we got into a fight with them. So Raslas got dragged deep down underwater, and I was out on the side of the ship with my sticky toes, fighting the siren that had gotten me for at least a couple turns. And as we're fighting them, we see that these are the bad kind of mermaid, where the top half is woman and the bottom half is tentacle, and it goes all the way down to the depths of the ocean to who knows what. So I'm fighting this siren, and then another one comes up, and I call out to Caden to fucking help. Throw some boiling water on it. And he does, and he saves my life. And maybe this is the turning point in our relationship where I don't yell at him so much. Probably not, but maybe. So after we kill the sirens up top, we start diving down to follow the tentacles, and we find this sea monster that's kind of holed up in a sunken ship. A sunken spaceship, mind you. Like it's a hermit crab and it moved into some kind of spacecraft. And we killed that. Easy peasy. I can breathe water. I don't need fucking diving suits. So after we kill this monster, we then look at its hermit crab space shell and start stripping it for parts so we can use it for repairs. And naturally, as the chef, I'm not going to help with that. I'm going to cut up pieces of the monster to make sushi. But I don't do any of that flash freeze bullshit or Sudoku tea rituals. I just fucking serve raw sea monster, and I give all the crew worms. And we have to use all our horse dewormer to clear out our worm infestation. Thanks to Joe Rogan. So once that's settled, we're up top and a creature approaches Jamanthema, the bard with the guitar. And this time the creature seems friendly. It actually looks like a child. It's a centaur, which is like a centaur, but a seahorse centaur. And it talks to us in its little cutesy voice, and it says, oh, it probably didn't say oh shit, but oh shit, did you kill the monster? Oh my god, you're a hero. You have to come meet my parents because they'll be so happy, and also my dad's the king. And they'll be so happy that you killed the monster, you're our friend. And we're thinking about it, should we follow this creature? And then we see the silver vortex coming in for a landing. Silver vortex, if you don't remember, or if I didn't tell you in the last episode, because I run a pretty sloppy ship here. The silver vortex is a Federation galactic cruiser. This is an assortment of words that might not be right, but you know what I'm talking about. You perfectly picture in your head the kind of ship and the size of it and the feds on it. And I think we've actually fought this ship or encountered it before in a session I missed. So we knew who it was, and we thought, we cannot fight these guys. Let's cheese it, let's follow this sea tour. She'll show us where to hide with her people. Also, I think I said this last episode, but the campaign has continued since that episode, and the trend of me missing every critical session has also continued. So I think at this point I've missed the 3 most important sessions where we met all the important NPCs and all the important big decision things have happened. So you're getting a pretty shitty version of this story where I barely know what's going on. Anyway, we follow this little sea tour girl whose name I never learned because I'm very rude, and we meet her dad, who's the king of the sea tours, and they're pretty shitty little backwater sea people kingdom. They don't have space travel, they don't have a lot of supplies we can use. They help out a little bit, and we finish making repairs to our ship, and they have a little feast, and they give us all gifts. And most people got cool stuff and magic items, and I got a bag of sea beans. Non-magical, just a bag of beans. I think that's what I asked for, to be fair. And Jamanthema got a fishbowl that, 1, can be used to summon a water elemental, and 2, can be used like a cell phone to talk to this little sea tour girl. And I got a bag of beans. You eat all my beans, nigga! Anyway, we finish making our repairs, and we say, alright, sea tours, thanks for the beans. See tour you later. And we leave. We get into orbit. We're about to zoom away, and then Jamanthema gets a phone call on her fishbowl, and the little sea tour girl tells us that the feds found them after scanning the planet and have occupied them to take whatever meager spear chucker resources they have. So at this point the party's like, oh no, we have to turn around and save these stupid tribe people. And Olivier says, no, that makes no sense. Olivier's evil, lawful evil, so it fits a character. But also, and I say this and nobody seems to care, there's a crew of like 25 people on the ship aside from us, and they're gonna mutiny if we escape the feds and then turn around to go back into danger to save some fucking tribe people. But we do it anyway. The plan is, Raslas is going to turn one of our cannons into a bomb that we're going to drop onto the feds when they're not paying attention, sneak attack style. And we're going to use that as a diversion to get onto the ship using Wiggy's little space bike that carries 2 people. And Raslas is going to sabotage one of their engines so that when they try to take off after us, it blows up and bombs them again, and we'll get away. And the people who decide they're going to go to do this sabotage mission are Raslas, of course, and Anila for some reason, because through some plot thing I didn't care about, she's now the owner of Wiggy's motorcycle and also Wiggy's balls. And I suggest, how about Olivier goes instead, because he's kind of our tank, or one of them, a tanky monk. And Anila insists that no, it's her bike and she's gonna drive it. So I wild shape into an ant and ride on their shoulders, and then once we get to the ship, ride on Raslas's back as he runs down to where he thinks the engine is based on some blueprints or absolute guesswork. And when we find it, I jump off behind him as he goes down to the engine to do his tinkling. He probably just pissed on the engine, and that's how he sabotaged it. That's how I sabotage everything at work. Don't drink the coffee. So I jump off Raslas's back, I turn back into a frog, which is not that much more threatening than an ant. I'm only like 3 feet tall. But at least I'm visible now, and all the guards and soldiers and marines and fed people, whatever, who are around see me and go, "Hey, what the fuck is a frog doing here? Don't worry, I'll tackle him." And they try to tackle me, but I'm just punching and kicking and tripping, and I'm holding up like 5 of them. I'm a fucking badass. Everyone likes Olivier. From France. So I hold them off while Raslas does his thing. They're all kind of wiener soldiers. They're not that threatening, so I can mostly avoid hits. And then when he tells me he's done, I deliberately run past everyone to provoke opportunity attacks because you only get 1 per turn, and I wanted them to all be against me because I could probably take those hits, whereas Raslas is a little wiener boy and he can't. So I do it, he comes after me, turn back into an ant, get in his pocket, and we go back to the ship, and then we zoom off into space. And once we escape the planet and we're in the clear, we kind of do an inventory of how that went, and we are now at basically the same health we were at as far as the ship goes before we got into the planet and made all the repairs. I don't see how what we did saved the Seator people in any way. And crew morale has gone down because the captain is a retard and she always just follows the advice of the 6 or 7 double retards who tell her what to do. So that was a good adventure. So we've escaped the water planet and are once again fucked up and in need of repairs, and we can't go back because we know the feds are there and they know we're here now and they'll kill us. So we just wander through space and we just happen to run into this ship of holy charity people, like missionaries who fly around at the edge of space just trying to help people. And they hail us and we go up and talk to them, we dock, and we ask them if they can help us with repairs. And I don't remember if they just gave it to us for free or sold it to us at a discount, but they helped with repairs. And everybody else was pretty skeptical and they didn't want to interact with these church people, which as a player I understand. Fucking church people are boring. But Olivier was pushing to have a shared meal with them because I thought this will cause interesting things to happen. So I said, "Oh, as repayment, I'll cook a meal for us all to break bread together." You know, considering that this is what I did after, we probably did get the repairs for free. What a swell group of people. But everyone in the party says no, fuck them, fuck missionaries, fuck the Christian God. So I say, okay, fine, whatever. And we leave, and as we're leaving, we look back and we see on the deck of this missionary boat, there's a mean looking guy looking at us through a telescope, and we see the insignia of the Sun Killers on him. And because you probably forgot, and because I never explained this, because I probably didn't know this until later, this church is genuinely trying to help people, but there's a subsect of it that's this cult, the Sun Killers, and they are dickheads. So they kind of exist within this church, and they sort of just keep quiet about how they want to murder people, and the church is like, okay, we all believe in the same God, right? Holy light and all that jazz. And then the Sun Killer's like, yeah, holy light, to burn our foes. So as we're leaving, we see one of those, the Sun Killers, spying on us and scowling. And not long after, we run into a smaller ship that's also of this religion of the light. And this time we think, you know what, fuck them. They hail us, they say, "Howdy ho, neighborinos, would you like some Jesus?" And we say, "Fuck you," and try to just zoom past them. And when they see that we've snubbed them, they get very righteously pissed and they fireball us. Not just fireballs, also fire beams. I think the actual spell is like moonbeam or something, but it's flavored to be fire instead of whatever kind of damage moonbeam is. And they're really fucking us up because I guess they got a surprise round because we were just trying to cheese it, and they have maybe 5 casters who can all drop fireballs and fire beams on us, and we are really hurting. So Olivier eventually makes it up to the deck and he says, "What the fuck is going on?" But in a French accent. I stopped doing the French accent during the sessions just because I got tired of doing it, and I'm not good at it. "What the fuck is going on?" So Olivier comes up and he sees that we're all in trouble. Some of the people have jumped onto the enemy ship to try to fight them there, while others are on this side fucking cowering. So I jump across the ship and I decide I'm gonna punch these people. Punch and kick, and I punch and I'm kicking. I'm 60 years old. And I get on there and I just punch the closest guy to me and I attack him twice, and both of them are crits, which is rare. So I punch the shit out of this one caster who's next to me, and he survives, but he's really hurting. And then in retaliation, they fireball me twice. And in fact, that kills me. Not knocks me unconscious and puts me on death saving throws. That was enough damage to just kill me outright. And the DM felt bad about that because I've done a few campaigns with him and he's always killing me. So he retconned it, so Caden sees me getting fireballed and he jumps across to try to save me. He revives me by pouring some soup in my mouth. That heals me a little bit, I get back up, and I compliment him on making such a good sauce. And he said, "That wasn't sauce, that was soup." And I say, "What? That sucks." And then we get fireballed, the second one. I guess he jumped in between the first and the second. And the second fireball doesn't kill me. I managed to survive it thanks to that heal. And Caden dies right away, no chance to save him. Not just dies, he's turned to ash, he's vaporized, disintegrated. And in my frog grief, I rage and start fucking people up again. I'm rolling really good, and then I died again. But fake died this time. I was just unconscious making death saving throws. And the next time my turn comes around, I rolled a natural 20 on my death saving throw, which is like a crit, and that means I immediately get up with 1 health and start punching people up again. I don't remember exactly how many times, but this is one of those fights where I repeatedly died, got back up, did a lot of damage, died again, got back up, did a lot of damage. Kind of like how I did PvP in WoW. So then we finish the fight, and I find Caden's ashes, and I gather them up into a spice jar that I keep for myself. And at this point, B3 decides to kill himself, because we had time to save him. I was going around healing people who were down. But he said, "No thank you, I would prefer to die." And then he plays us this goodbye voicemail thing that he'd recorded using like the Microsoft Sam voice. I thought it was pretty gay that he deliberately killed himself so he could just start a new character. Earn your deaths. But it was a nice little voicemail, and it reminded me of...
I have 2 brothers, Chris and Graham, and 2 parents, Paul and Amita. In August of 2001, I went crazy.
Was originally not for public consumption.
Anyway, B3 dies and the player introduces this new character, who I'm going to call PP, because his initials are PPP, and I don't know what any of the names that start with P are, so he's just PP. And I have no idea how he's introduced. That's not true. I think he was a prisoner on the enemy ship that we found after we killed everyone and then started looking around. And what we also find in this ship, there are followers of the light religion people here who are not Sunkillers. I think the Sunkillers took over the ship and used it for their dickish antics. But there were some cool people on it. And since we'd lost, I think 4 crew members in this fight to all the fireballs and shit, I suggested that we Shanghai some people. This is the infamous Shanghai event. How racist. So the people we end up taking are 4 siblings, 4 tieflings. 2 of them are twins. I don't know what their names are. They become powder monkeys. Then we got Chance, who I also don't know what he did. And then Rayla, who's the one who matters, because Rayla becomes a new kitchen boy. She's, I think, 13 or 14, the youngest of the 4, and since Caden just died, rip, Rayla will be my new kitchen boy. And I decided at this point that I should actually start doing something with Olivier's character instead of just chopping vegetables in the kitchen at every opportunity. And it was kind of already developing where Olivier and Caden were developing a relationship where Olivier was begrudgingly starting to respect him and appreciate his skills and helpfulness in the kitchen. Plus Caden saved his life twice now and sacrificed himself for him, so Rayla comes down to the kitchen and introduces herself and said that she was assigned to work there, and I decided to kind of follow up with this Olivier character growth arc that's been developing with Kaden, I was going to do a sort of Leon the Professional relationship with Rayla, where I sort of take her under my wing and teach her how to kill people through the use of worm infestation from improperly handled fish. And then we had this interaction pretty early on where, you know what, I'm going to try to do the accent, and if I do it bad, then please no cyberbullying. So we're in the kitchen, it's Olivier and Rayla. This is pretty early on when they get started working together. Kaden, get started on missing plots for dinner. My name is Rayla. Oh. Can you chop vegetables? And it turns out she's a rogue, so she can chop vegetables. I have a roll for it, and she's fucking better than me. But I say, not bad, but could be better. Who's Kaden? He was my sous chef. Which happened after he died. He was not my sous chef in real life. Oh, was he nice? No, but you don't have to be nice in my kitchen. You have to be good. Was he good? No. Oh. He saved my life. And then she asks if she can go hang out with her brothers, and I make her drink a glass of milk and tell her to be back for dinner. And then the DM teared up, like a gay boy. Man, I really fucking suck at a French accent, holy shit. I was better during the sessions when I had been doing it 2 months in a row. Anyway, the next stuff that happens, the next bit, I think we had 2 people missing from this session, so we were going to do sort of a side story, not really any big impactful stuff, and we decided we were going to go to this wild space bazaar. That's a dumb way to phrase it. This trading bazaar place that's way out in wild space. We figure we can make some repairs, sell some shit, investigate some leads. Just basic maintenance shit so we don't make drastic changes to what's going on without 2 people. So what we do is we all go to a bar, and at the bar we see the Red Vortex recruiting. I don't know exactly what the Red Vortex is. I think it's a different ship that's competing with us to get to the treasure, but it's not the Silver Vortex Federation ship. And in fact, I might be naming it wrong, because why would both of them be named Vortex? But this is basically our competitors and enemies, but not the government, just some other criminals. And they're at this bar, and they are recruiting, and they're offering signing bonuses, and there's a little line there for people who want to sign up to join them. And there's also a pawn shop in the back, so we decided to split up a little bit just to pursue different things in the bar. PP and Olivier get in line to sign up for the Red Vortex. Obviously we're not going to sign up, we just want to investigate, see what's going on. Anila and Chuck go to the pawn shop, and I guess Raslas and Jamanthema were the 2 that weren't there for this session. So at the pawn shop, the guy there is selling draws from this magical deck. I forget what it's called, but it's a deck of cards. You draw one and it has some magical effect. And he's charging some amount of gold to draw one thing. Vanilla does it and she gets 300 gold. Nice draw. Then Chuck says, I'll do it, and he draws and he gets crippled. And the DM does this special thing with the cards where when you draw it, you get some effect, and then you get a second effect that you can choose to use whenever you want. And you don't know what that effect is, but you can activate it. And actually, I think Anila forgot that she has that second action, cash in, whatever. Chuck immediately cashes in his card, and it's basically power word death. He has to choose someone that he can see and immediately kill that person. And I thought if you wanted to die or have some kind of heroic arc, this would be a good opportunity to say, oh fuck, I don't want to kill anyone here, the only honorable thing to do would be to kill myself. Which I think would be an interesting end to a character arc, and you could start a new one. But instead he chooses the leader of the Red Vortex recruiters. There are 3 of them at this table. PP and Olivier, who are in line at that table, have no idea what's going on at the pawn shop. From their point of view, standing in line, a man suddenly falls over dead. And the other 2 there, one of them is a woman, cries out, "My husband! I'm pregnant!" And PP decides the thing to do here is snatch the bag of gold off the table, turn into a hawk, and fucking cheese it. So I see this happening. A man falls over dead randomly. PP grabs her gold and fucking runs. And I think, alright, I'm getting out of here. None of my business what's going on at this table. The remaining 2 recruiters catch up to PP before he gets very far because he's carrying his big fuck off bag of gold. And they hit him and they knock him out of hawk mode back into person mode. So these 2 recruiters, based on what they've seen happen, assume that PP murdered their friend, stole the gold, and ran. And honestly, that's a perfectly rational, it's the most rational assumption they could make based on the information they have. So they start fucking up PP, who's lying on the ground getting stabbed and punched and whatever. I get to the door, I turn, and I see that PP's not going to make it. So, heroic frog boy that I am, I turn back to get between him and his pursuers and tank. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm the tank. Always play the tank. One of them stops at me and starts hitting me, and we duke it out. But the other, the widow, which when I called her a widow, everybody got offended again, like, oh, you're assuming they're married? Which is a really fucking weird wokeness hill to die on, you know? Why would you assume they did the right thing and not that they're just some degenerate bastard fox? I'm gonna call it a widow. Fight me. So one of them stops me, but the widow runs past and takes the opportunity attack because she's getting revenge. She doesn't care about me. She wants the guy who she thinks killed her husband. And as this is happening, Wiggy, who I guess was also there, helps Chuck limp out of the bar because he got all crippled up by the card. And the timing for this specifically is after PP stole the gold, but before we were getting fucked up by the recruiters, which is kind of important. Anila and Raslas, oh, I guess Raslas was there. I don't know if it's obvious, but I'm reading through my notes from however many weeks ago that this session happened, and I thought Raslas wasn't there, but I guess he was. Anila and Raslas pretend to be drunk and kind of stumble around past this fight, and they pretend that they don't know us, me, Olivier, or PP, with the intention of stealing the bag of gold as they stumble past. And they do pull it off. So I move over to the widow and I try to get her attention. I hit her, I try to make her turn, but she's fucking set on just revenge stabbing PP. He's down making death saving throws and she's still stabbing the body, which usually DMs don't do, but she had good cause. And PP ends up actually dying. So this is the player who was B3, who died last session, and then his new character died immediately in the first session. And this death was actually earned. And I'm there, fighting these 2 recruiters, having failed to save PP's life. Anila leaves, Raslas leaves, Chuck and Wiggy have already left. And then after everyone left, and I was the only one left stuck in this fight, I looked at the DM and I said, did these motherfuckers just abandon me? And then Raslas realizes, oh fuck, we forgot the frog, so he retcons his actions. He didn't do this in the first place. He turned at the door, saw me there, and held the door open to help me escape. But only after I made a comment about it. And for the record, if he had not turned back for me, I would have gone to the ship and just gone on a murder spree for abandoning me like that. And I probably would have died eventually, but I'm sure I could have taken out 1 or 2 of them before they got me down, and then I would have just started my new character. And I would have escaped even without Raslas helping me. Monks have crazy mobility. I could have very easily just run away. It's just the principle, you know? And it would have made for an interesting end to the character. So we get back to the ship and we see some chatter on Space Facebook about a disturbance at this bar, but there's nothing that identifies us. And at this point we meet the new character for the guy who's played in PP, who was a replacement for B3. And his new character is named Tormund, who is a blade singer, wizard, and elf. Apparently he was hired to be an accountant, but doesn't know how to do math, and then somehow got locked in a room for weeks and was almost dead. I'm not really sure how his backstory actually makes sense, but that's the gist of it. Kinda feel like he stole my idea that I did with Marlin. Apply for a job, not realizing what it is, somehow get it, have to pretend. And he's a wizard. Anyway, we meet Tormund, we got all fucked up, started healing up, and we decide, alright, before we leave, we should at least repair the fucking ship, like we said we were gonna do when we got here. So we go to this repair shop, and it's owned by a gnome named Roscoe. The shop is called Roscoe's Repair Shop, and we decide that we should just recruit him as a shipwright, and whoever did the charisma check for that passed, which is dope. So we get some supplies and cheaper repairs, which is big, and he gets to abandon his 8 vile gnome children. And then we leave the bazaar, and the next thing that we need to do on our journey, for reasons that I no longer remember, is attack the Sun Killer's home base, which will happen later. Tune in next time to Olivier's Balls. Z.
Here is the secret key. I cannot see you, that way you cannot see me. I am hidden.